Sheriff Jason Richardson, Sheriff DeSoto Parish. Hey, Mr. Jason, welcome back to Keel. How you been?
Good morning, Robert and Aaron. How are you?
You know, there's been a lot of stories in the news lately about, especially here in Caddo Parish or in Shreveport, police and or sheriff's deputies. How active will they be in, I don't want to say confronting, perhaps too harsh a word, but in sort of urging folks who are in groups of more than 10 who are going against the governor's sort of social distance mandates, etc. Are they writing tickets, etc.? What are you doing in DeSoto? I hear that you guys are, to use the vernacular, not playing around.
That's correct. Well, and so it's important to know that we're not just driving around looking for you to have 11 people in your house or your yard. That's not the case. Here, of course, our community has taken this quite seriously, particularly in the areas of Mansfield. That's where the concentration of our positive cases are, as well as it's not reported yet, but we've had 5 total deaths, and 4 of those were within a mile of each other. So, of course, we are taking that seriously, and those that act egregiously, the case that we had where we issued 15 citations this weekend, you had upwards of 30 people at an organized event that basically was going directly against that directive of the governor. Excuse me.
When you say organized event, what was it? A crawfish boil? What were they doing?
No, it was just a group of people getting together. I guess it was to hang out. It was some were on horses and ATVs and cars as well. They just decided there's a particular area in Mansfield that it's just a piece of property where people hang out occasionally, and that's where this particular instance was. But it was something we were aware of possibly going to take place prior to, and had put out notice well in advance that we're not going to tolerate that, and some still chose to go against that, and of course, there were some consequences for that.
You got complaints about it? I mean, you just said you're not going out and searching them out. You got complaints about it,
right? Well, obviously, if we drive, if in our daily activities we notice, somebody that's doing again those egregious things that are just obviously without you having to really think about it or going against what has been put out, then certainly those are the things that we're going to deal with. But most of the situations we've dealt with to this point have actually come from citizen complaints.
Sheriff, what's your protocol in that situation? Is you obviously had meetings about it. How aggressive are your deputies being? Is it give them a warning first and then, or is it just right away, here's how it's going to be, guys?
So what we attempt to do is warn, but again, the situation dictates, again, how egregious the act is. It's not a secret at this point that you're not supposed to be having organized get-togethers or even, 30 to 40 people at this point is just unacceptable. So that's, in those particular situations, it's a little different than somebody having a family barbecue with 15 people. So, of course, we allow our people to use discretion, and, but there is no one shoe fits all. You kind of have to take, each one of them individually. But again, those that are just overtly egregious, we will handle most likely with some sort of citation.
DeSoto Parish is, for the most part, a rural area, not a big place. I would imagine word gets around pretty quick, and based on your deputies' actions this past weekend in writing those citations, I'm just guessing here, I would assume that your problems will be fewer. I guess that's what you're hoping for too, right?
And that's our expectation as well. A lot of people, until you make an example, there's really not a lot of teeth in what you say. And so at some point you have to make an action that lets people know that you're serious. And of course, that was what took place this weekend. And if it continues, we'll continue to do such. But I do expect it to have an effect, and we won't we probably will not have to deal with those particular situations as
Do-
often
or-
due to that.
Sheriff, were these teenagers older, and what happens now? I guess they all now have court dates, right?
Most were adults. They do have court dates. Of course, we don't know when that'll be, but because court's obviously not in session right
Sure.
now. But we gave them several months. But that most of those individuals were adults, obviously, that we cited. There were more individuals than what we cited, but many of them left as soon as we arrived, and we were only able to take care of so many. But that's what we did.